Hello, hello, hello. Welcome, welcome, welcome. So that should be fine. Everything, I think, hopefully. Welcome back. Yeah, let's try to keep working on the undo edit, undo redo history. I did a bit off stream, but not really. I just fixed the copy path for the input actions. Well, it's unpaid overtime. Don't worry. I will just not track the time. Don't worry. Delete the VOD, then everything is fine. So yeah, I think I should be able now to. We don't have an undo redo yet implemented here, but I can open here the file again and have that working, and that is a copy of the actual input action. What's sad? What is that? Ah, I read about that. Now that you mention it, I think I've read about that once. Or maybe not. Maybe I'm mistaking it with something else. Yeah, I'm not sure. Maybe I didn't read that. Maybe I had a different thing in mind. I will definitely look at it, but can you turn off the AI stuff? I wouldn't want that part, basically. Otherwise, yeah, maybe give it a try. Okay. So I think what I would want to do is... Okay, cool. Then I will give it a try, probably. But not today. Not today. Let me think. So I think we could try to add input actions now. So one thing that we definitely need to do is here on open, I need to do something similar to what we do in the scene editor. And then the question is, can we automate that somehow? Basically, I need this. And then, do I have windows here already? No, I don't. Or, never mind, maybe I do. No. Editor, Windows? Yeah. Oh, okay. Cool. That's nice. I will definitely read up about that editor. Do you use it or what? Like, are you using it somewhat regularly? Or you just heard about it as well? I don't need to set that. Oh, we need to set that. Then I don't have GUI system here defined or what? Okay. That should do the trick, hopefully. Yeah, we have a history here. And then we of course don't have anything there. That's why kind of obvious. But we can do that. I think that is all useless now. What did I do here? I really should stop doing that. Like submitting commented code, even though it's my hobby project. It really gets quite confusing very quickly. What is that even? Why does it even exist then? Can we not? Is that the thing that we currently cannot add new bindings? Is that it? I really would want that to save the file. Maybe I add a open recent soon. Cause that's kind of annoying. So we have the rename. Wait, render bindings. Where is that? Oh, I think it was. Yeah, I think it was that. Fair. We can do that. So I think it is this that's missing. Okay. So how would I do that? Probably input bindings factory. Get types. Let's see. Probably can work like that. I will get a metadata out here. Probably we got that out. metadata. Get engine system localization. What did I do there? Why did... I think that should be fine to be like that. And then that would be binding metadata here. Create functor, which I don't think I need anything for. That should already hopefully give us back the ability to add binding. But then we need to, actually we should have probably done that right away. But yeah, this should have probably been action done. Oops. Not what I wanted. Data, that one. And then right click here. Yes. Okay. The question is, can we can we filter that in a smart way? Probably not. Because I assume this value type here is something completely different, right? Unless my binding... Does my binding have anything that helps me with that? No, right? I guess we could add one though, like a type. But we will do that later. Where is the type even? I think input action? Yeah, action type. And then basically an input binding has a I will read it, yeah. Is it garbage or what it's about? But I opened it already. I have it in a tab, but yeah. Later. Okay. So it's good or what? How many? Oh, let's not do that for now. Okay. Yeah, I would want to filter them. Not sure how yet. Let's put it to do here. Filter bindings that are shown to the user to avoid unnecessary or heading unnecessarily complex, I guess. Unnecessarily complex options. That's not how you write unnecessarily, right? I mean, that's definitely wrong, and then is it like that? That was almost correct. I wondered if it's double N. But yeah, that's fine. Let's add a new command because we need a new command. Question is, oh, that those are already ordered in scene. Okay. We add a new folder, input actions. New file. Add binding command. Maybe we name it add input binding. Copy. Well, actually, let's add multiple ones. Add action. Copy. Thank you. That's what I wanted to do. Rename. Modify input binding command, maybe. What else do I need? A delete, probably. Delete input action command. And probably a delete input binding command. You use this instead of Tmax. Okay. To be honest, as you know, I'm not really super familiar with Linux yet. So I'm not really sure why I would want to use Tmax, what like the big benefit of it is. I mean, I do understand that you have like multiple terminals. That's what it does, right? In like, I guess one session, but yeah, I don't know. Don't really see the difference to just doing this rather than having two terminals here, but probably there is a difference. Maybe the navigation is different, like you have easier navigation between the windows. Not sure. Delete, add, modify, rename. And we probably need a modify input action command as well. What if you accident? Ah, so Tmax can restore that or what? Okay, I see. But does it restore it as well if I close Tmax? So does it like save as well if I close Tmax and reopen Tmax? Like does it save it somewhere in like a... Does it save the session across multiple boots of the system? Or is it just within one Tmax session? The internal sessions are resistant. Oh, okay. I mean, cool. Okay. I mean, I can see some benefits to that. Do I need anything else here? For now, I can't think of anything else. So let's copy those input actions over to here. And now we need to F2 that. Oh no, I pressed escape. Not sure what I did there, but whatever. Pressed the weird key and suddenly I was in Narnia with my cursor. Alright, and then commands. Input actions. And then we need all of those. So basically add input action command.cpp, add input binding, delete. Or we can actually copy both of them because we have them in pairs, right? That is delete. Now we have another one pair, which is modify. Now we have a couple of standalone ones. One is rename input action. And that is the only unique one, never mind. Yeah, I need to save my config files now sooner than later for my Linux, like the .conf files, because I will try to update my Arch Linux, which I never did before, and I'm a bit curious, like I want to be safe that nothing is lost, but I will probably do that tomorrow. It should be fairly safe to update what I read, but it can sometimes break. But that's nothing really new. For you probably, Chica, but yeah, for me it's quite new. Editor commands, yeah, that looks fine. We don't need an asset ID, I think. Well, I don't really know what I need yet, so let's leave that empty for now and actually generate just a build for now. It's funny because currently at work there was something with the editor as well where the undo, or it's like was a funny overlap that the undo redo history didn't undo something correctly. And I only read that here I'm not working on the editor. But basically the editor team then was like, yeah, we know it sucks and we're working on it, but it's probably not that trivial to add because we need an undo action of the actual action, and gets complicated with the state and stuff like that. And I'm like, maybe my system, I mean, it's early days, but maybe my system is a little bit better. But let's see if it scales well as well. That's the other thing, but yeah, quite funny. So I give it probably I probably give it the map, right? So maybe we close everything but that. And then we open this one and we probably give this thing, right? Or do we give it the asset ID maybe? Yeah, I think we do it like that. We give it the asset ID of the input action. Asset ID basically, sorry. That can be const, I don't really care. Although is it like, this is fairly small, right? Wait, what did I do there? Okay, I included asset ID, never mind. But I think it's fair, it's just a U64, right? Yeah. Wait, why is it that big? Ah, because we have the optional path, but in runtime it's actually not. Okay, yeah. So we can copy it. And we then give as well probably the awning window in this case. We can give that as a const. And we store this one in here. Now this probably a class, most likely. Right? Yeah. Is it in a sub namespace? No. And then we have assets here. And then where we have the remaining stuff we need for an input action add. So let's see, where do we have that? Ah, here. It's just a... Oh, we need the type. Although, do we? No, right? We don't. And the name, but that is basically... Well, that is basically done. So what we need is actually nothing here, that's all we need. Maybe I do a combined action here as well again. Like a input action command. We got a string ID. Although probably not. Well, yes, no, we do. Sorry. Basically the same what we have here, right? Yeah. And then this is the window, this is that, and then we do put action. Not cons, sorry, class, input actions, context. I think it is a class, yeah. Well, actually, it's an input actions map, sorry. I hope that is correct as well. No, it's a struct, okay. Of course. I should be more strict about that as well. I still call it input actions context because I think I will rename that. Yeah. Input actions. Well, input action command, right? Yeah. CPP. Cool. So let's build that. And let's see where we are going with that then. Let's see, maybe we can. Well, I will not finish it today because, as I said, the node graph is quite painful to add, I think, everything, but the input window we can definitely finish today. And then let's see where we go from that afterwards, basically, but yeah. So here what I need to implement is... Wait, how did you not find a corresponding file for that? Well, we need to implement this one. Then why would you not find that? Yeah, it found it now, but not the other way around. Cool. Get. Wait, what? Why would you? Please? Okay. Good. Almost have it. And then here I command the ID and M asset ID. Wait, why is settings window? And then basically what I would want to do is Onyx assert that our M asset ID equals our input, or M settings window get open basically that, and then return M settings window get get open actions context, like that maybe. Hello, how are you? I hope you are doing fine. Maybe we do a friend class here. Input action command, just so that we have like one thing in here that we can have private, which is basically input actions context. Although we don't really need to. Well, I mean, yes, we kind of do, but reference counting in C. Okay. Get open asset ID. And yeah, maybe that is not const. Oh. Oh, then we need to include here. Editor set where window? No, not Windows, right? It's something stupid, I think. Or is it Windows? Oh no, it is Windows. Okay, maybe I moved them already. But what did you learn there, that you have to implement it yourself or what? Or because C doesn't have reference counting, or does it already have something like that by now? I don't think so. Or I would be surprised if they added that. But positively, to be honest. What the hell? What? I don't want it. No, I think I don't. Spare me the details, I think. I think we don't need anything here. We just need to override the execute. At least I think that's it, right? Yeah. And with that, we can go here, include, input actions, add input action command. Alright, and now we can copy over this part. And here that would be m commands history push. And I do think I would want to add. Do I change that now? Maybe. Add input action command. I just want to do it like that. And yeah, that doesn't currently work, but okay, yeah, kinda makes sense. I mean, horribly fares once you have multiple threads, but then you need to add hooks. But yeah, I mean, it works. Is that everything? Not quite. Oh yeah, I needed to copy that here, of course. Get input actions context. Which we probably need to now include a couple of things. Onyx input actions, that, yeah. We probably can make that as well nicer. Yeah, I heard about it. That's what I said. I mean, at least I think I said that. So actually what I would want to do is args here. No, it's like that, right? It's type name dot args. Yeah, it is, but I mean, then again, doesn't really. Oh wait, and then yeah, type name, sorry, type name U is that, and we still need that, and then this is args. And then we forward here the args. And we make a U. That is a problem because... Ah yeah, we need to... Or do we need to do it here? I think like that, right? Yeah, currently that's a little bit of a pain point. What's up? That is actually still not completely safe or correct. I want to get rid of that mutex, but yeah. Yeah, true. Is it here? I always forget where it is. Or is it here? I always forget where it is. It is after. Yeah, it is after. Oh, it's like... Ah, it's like that. I always forget how exactly... So it's not this, right? It's this? Yeah, I think. No? Ah, like that. So... Yeah, it's the mutex is there in an attempt to fix an issue because we had... When you upload resources, we had validation errors with the queue being currently in use by basically the rendering. And that was a naive attempt to try to fix it. It kind of fixed it, but we still have validation errors, so it definitely is not correct yet. So I want to get rid of that graphics mutex because in the end, what I probably would want to do anyways is that texture creations and texture uploads go over the transfer queue, and then we transition it to the graphics queue late down the line in the frame, basically at a safe point where we know we are allowed to do it. Probably begin or end frame. But yeah, you are not allowed to do use a queue on two threads basically at the same time. That's about it. And that was happening because my async loading loaded assets in a separate thread and then wanted to create the textures, but the render thread was already running and doing its thing, and yeah. It's a image, like, is it a memory thing? I'm not quite sure anymore. It's a queue transfer basically of the resource. I think it's in the layout. So texture storage, I think. And if we go here, there is in the transition layout, I think it is. Is it here? Yeah, you have a source queue and a destination queue for the barrier. So you need to do this pipeline barrier thing, and that's basically moving, as far as I understood. That's move like if you define the queue indices here, source would be transfer queue index, and that would be graphics queue index. Then you submit that, and then it basically transfers the ownership of the texture to the graphics queue. But I didn't do that yet, and I am by no means fully knowledgeable on that, but that's how I understood it. Okay, and then here I need an ID. Well, I don't need an ID, I only need the scene, where the that and this. Right? Oh yeah, well, okay, we need a constructor here. Basically takes those two. And then we have add import. Oh, is it input settings window and then asset ID or what? I guess it is. Okay. It's the other way around. Let's see if that bears. Well, you usually have, I think, more transfer queues than graphics queues. Or I'm not sure. Or but it's actually you're saying you have more queues. Well, I'm not sure, but the transfer queues are very specialized, so yeah. I don't know. Maybe it's not needed anymore nowadays to have a specific transfer queue. Did that build? No, right? No, it didn't. Probably because we have like a... Okay, well, that's... Really? Is it a... Wait, is it a struct that I did that? I did. Why did I do that again? Questions over questions. But we will definitely have other failures now in the other systems, right? Because we changed how the push function works, but I think we changed it for the better. Yeah, exactly. Because what we can do is this now, which makes everything so much nicer. We will have other places where it still fails. Where does it fail? Of course. I'm wondering if that was actually the better approach, how I handle the creation of the commands with the parent window instead of doing it like that. That might be slightly better. Actually, maybe we change the scene stuff as well to that. The good part is we don't have to do a whole bunch of changes because most of it would be automatic. Okay, cool. Yeah. In theory, I think we should be able to, if I open this now. I think I'm close to hard coding it just so that it's faster. But if we go here, and I add a new one, then we have an add input action. Yeah, beautiful. And if I undo that, we currently crash. Perfect. Undo redo history for this window here is what I'm doing. Why is that a problem? Undo action. Wait, what? Oh no, yeah, that's fine. And then my command stack. Has one entry, okay. So we are not allowed to go back here or what? I thought that was already working, I guess not. Do you think you will need to have to programmatically navigate? I am not sure if I understand that that question. I don't think so. Why would that fail? Okay, let's retry that. I have no idea why that would have failed. Oh, unless... Or let's see. Unless we have some weird stuff where... If I undo... Where do we have... Why do I not see a lot of stuff here? That's like annoying. Okay. That's interesting thing. Maybe I mean, we could do that. That's not impossible to do, but probably a little bit harder, yeah. I mean, we most likely would need to store more information. With each action. HE devolving. Okay, cool. I mean, I am still waiting. Let's put it that way. Is head a null pointer? Is that it? Could it be that my head is empty? I think it might actually be. I think we need to m input or m command history set base to a copy of that basically. I command where input actions map. Do I need to STD move or what's that in there? That's stupid, but okay. Okay. Oh, that would be nice, yeah. I mean, I guess what I could do is input actions. Like that, right? But that reminds me, shouldn't that have been an assert for that? Okay, we definitely should assert here that M head is not an R pointer. Because otherwise that's like basically asking for rubber. Alright. Let's see if that works better now. So we go here, we put that, we go here, we add a new action. We have the new action here, I press Ctrl Z and it's gone. Perfect. And I think if I add that again, we have it again. Perfect. Good. So my whole thing kinda works. I guess we could do const t base like that. And we just copy it here, right? Because we need to be copyable anyways, and where we do the copy doesn't really matter. Now we could do that. Which looks kinda weird right now. I think I will probably move both of them into like one function or something like that. Not sure yet. But something along those lines. And I think we might need to do down here. Where do we... Oh, here. Basically as our registry. Perfect. So I think that still works. Probably data input that. Let's add an action. We have it. Control Z makes it gone, and that adds it again. Perfect. I mean, as long as you mark everything there const eval, I think you should be fine, right? But yeah, not sure either. Okay, let's add, in that case, now our other actions. Because why not? Alright, that didn't work how I would want it. I don't think that makes... Oh yeah, I mean... Does it make sense? I mean, I guess if you want to save it, right, you need probably some that are const expert to get it for runtime purposes. But I think most of it should be const eval, just to be sure that it runs at compile time. But then again, I guess it's yeah, probably a little bit finicky, I guess. So let's see, input binding. Where do we? This is the input binding creation, right? Yes. And then here on click, we do command history, pushback, and you add input binding command with as well the action ID probably, and the type ID. I'd say, as well as of course the input context asset ID and a diff pointer. And then this is gone. Probably. So that would be add input binding command. Again, we have those two, and we have wait. Yeah, that's garbage. Where we have a string ID 32 m binding type ID. There should be an invalid one, yeah. Yeah, okay. Fun. So we have the type ID for the binding and the action ID, right? Input action. What is the action ID? It's a string ID 64, okay. Still not sure why we have a string 64 for that, but fine. And we as well string ID 64 invalid. And then we have add input binding. Wait. Oh, okay. Yay, exceptions. Binding type ID. what reflection implementation you use. Oh yeah, GCC is always quite quick with adding those kind of things, I guess. Alright, and then we get our actions. Which probably is, okay, that's a dynamic array. Actions. Can I do get? I think it would be nice to do that. Input action reference. Can I do an optional here? Probably. Which is very unfortunate, but I guess it is what it is. And then yeah, it's basically that. Otherwise, we return an std null opt. And here we return action. Ah, get. Oh, sorry. Ah. Nice. Okay, so then we don't need that. What we can do is if value or null point, I guess. And then if that is valid, we can do action dot. Yeah, we probably want to have a helper here. Because why do I need to always do it like that, right? Like add binding basically would be nice. Oh, but I need the binding factory. Is it not that? Kinda is, I think, but fine. Okay, or maybe we need to include, never mind. Input action, bindings, binding factory. Nah, damn it. Yes. Let's do it like that. Right? Yes. M binding type ID. And I would want to do it like that. That gives us a unique pointer, perfect. I mean, it basically is an editor feature, I would say. And place back std move binding. That should do it. And then we can get rid of that. And get rid of that. And that should be fine. Well, it's not the the thing that I am copying is not ref counted. So what I changed is I have the asset, right? So that is currently card input actions asset. So that's the asset, and I am copying this thing, which is not ref counted. The asset is not touched anymore, is the idea. Because we don't edit an asset right away anyways, you have to save first anyways. We never edit assets live, basically. You always have to hit save. So it's always a copy of it anyways. Did I implement that now in the window? Action ID, type ID, context asset, and this. I think that should be fine. We need to, of course, add the include here. Exactly. It's basically the thing we serialize in this case. Yes. Very, very similar to that. Yes. It's not the serialized object because I want to. The serialize, I think, has an overhead like we do JSON serialization currently only. Even if it's binary, we would have an overhead. And I would want to save some stuff that's potentially runtime specific, although that will probably never happen, but in theory the undo redo history supports it. Like, because we just use a copy constructor basically. What? What is your issue? Oh, it's the. Wait, was it the same for this one? Oh, guess it was. Where is my add input? It's a bit weird, but it's fine. We do it like that then. Okay, cool. So let's should have one more action here now. So if so first of all I can add a binding here, and then I can add bool binding here, and then we have this file. It's called input action. That's a bug, but that's easily fixable. Perfect. Add input binding. Beautiful. Can I even delete an input binding? I think I don't even support that yet, but I added the commands. Great. Okay. I mean, that one is fairly straightforward, I would say. So that is delete input action command. And I think that is just the action ID. Huh. So we want to delete. String ID 64 action ID. And I mean, kinda, well, the input binding is kinda the same. But not really. We probably want a U32 binding index, basically. Do I want to do a sanity check here as well? Probably not. But that would be more or less it. String ID, action ID. Let's do that, why not? Now we have here delete input binding. At least we add some new features to the whole editor as well, because yeah, that wasn't possible, and maybe that makes everything a little bit more usable, I would say. Action ID, action ID. I would say we should as well. Yeah, we assert if it doesn't exist. And here as well. So basically I get the optioner, input action. Why is it called like that? Why did I? Stupid. Useless to call it like that. Where is my editor? Here. I guess it's maybe a remove action then. Although is it not quite obvious that we remove an action? I think it's quite obvious. Maybe we also call it on the get. No, let's be specific. Why not? Remove action. It's fine. Action optioner. Remove binding. Okay, cool. We need to add that, of course. So void remove binding. Basically, missing binding or binding index invalid. M bindings size. Oops. Why is that not a thing? Okay, no, it is. So if index is smaller than that, right? Otherwise it's false. Yeah, that's the correct check. Always sometimes need to double check my thinking. And then erase. Can I just give you the index, or do I need to do the M bindings begin plus index? Although we could do, is there ranges here? Because what we could do is do a swap, right? Whatever. I mean, we can do that for now, but probably faster to do a erase swap. But for now, I don't really care. Okay. And now we have the context. here. We have get action, and then we need a void remove action. Okay. Why is that marked as whatever? STD remove, or STD ranges. The thing is, do I still need to do a remove if and then an erase, or is that already good enough? I never really know. I thought there is already one that basically does it automatically. I think, yeah, what's the ranges one, that the one that does it already automatically? But if you do an STD remove if it isn't the same? Something bizarre like that, I think. Let's find out. STD ranges remove if. Is there an example, a nice one that's actually readable? No, it's still cars erase. I thought there was already a new one that does it automatically. Or was it? No. This one is as well not. This as well needs an erase, right? Yeah. Maybe I was imagining it. There is a remove here? No, right? There is no remove here. There is a remove. No, that's a weird thing. No, or whatever. Okay. Fun times. Is it not erased? Did I not just look at that? God damn it. Nums erase. Oh wait, that gives me a range. Okay. Begin. Hit end. Of course it does. Whatever. So why is that stupid? Huh? Can you tell me that? Did I mistype or what? Oh. I was pretty sure there was one that does it automatically, but maybe not. Maybe I'm like losing my mind slowly. I really imagined there was one that does this already automatically. STD array. Ah, is it that one? Of course it is. And gee, yeah, nice. Thank you. I was almost losing my mind here because yeah, I was like so sure there was one, but it's always like 50 different names for it. But the array is if. Beautiful. Thank you. Exactly that. I probably use it somewhere already if I remember it. Yeah, I already use it some places. And those are the things where I'm like, really, C++, do we need to keep old things around? But yeah, whatever. Because that should be the standard one, in my opinion. I mean, yeah, remove if stuff has some use cases, I guess, where you just want to swap it at the end. I don't know. But then I would maybe name it differently. I don't know. But that's maybe just me. Where did I have... Oh, here. What does this STD erase? Can I do an M bindings index? Is that probably not, right? It wants a... I mean, I could do that, right? Yeah, why not? That probably does a swap then. Oh well, we don't have those actions implemented in the window, so let's do that now. Input action settings window. Do I have the action already for this? No, right? So I need... Yeah, maybe. Yeah, true. Can I take an iterator? No, right? I mean, I can still do this. But that doesn't swap it, right? So... I think this is maybe better. I don't know. I mean, it's constant access anyway, so it doesn't really matter, I think. Would be nice, yeah, to have maybe an iterator there, whatever. So I think we're not here. Scene editor? No, sorry, entities panel probably has the delete action thing, right? Yeah. I'm wondering if it would make sense to have a beautiful helper for that. Basically, we have a void on delete action. Question is there I think it's a class, but I'm not sure. No, of course not. I really should make that more clear. I think I should only do pod types as struct. Maybe not even those. I don't know. Here at the end, void on delete action. Delete action. Let's see, scene editor. Do we have, well, entities panel, sorry, entities panel. We probably have some logic here, right? Yeah, like the is focused, for example. And then if all of that is fine, then we do commands history push delete where that's a little bit problematic, right? So if so what do we have here? Oof, that's a little bit sus. I guess for now we just do the action. I think invalid index, right? If that is not the case, then we push back a new one. Where we do selected action. Okay. It's basically that, right? Get ID. Now we have this and I think and then basically set that to invalid index afterwards. I think. Something along those lines ish. Data dot open. Where is my beautiful history here? And then I take that, delete, and we have a crash. Perfect. Because I am stupid. God damn it. Terminate. We need to do that afterwards. Otherwise, we index into the array with a -1. Which is maybe not the smartest thing to do. Alright. Open. Data. Of course. Wait, what? Yeah. Gizmo rotate, delete. Okay. And we have it back. Wait, is that correct? That looks kinda sus. Why would the Gizmo rotate be like that? Or is it really like that? No, it's just R. But then I did that and I delete that and then I bring it back and then it's three things. Why? Oh, that's interesting. Wait a second. Something's going on here that's not correct. God damn it. What? So the reset probably does something wrong or what? Or the copy probably does something wrong. So in here, we copy this. This has a copy constructor now. Which basically or do I need to probably here, right? I have to clear first. This one is fine because it's empty anyways. But here I need to clear first. And then I don't have the... Oh yeah, and then input binding. In that one. As well M triggers clear. And M modifiers clear. And that should... Well, and we can always do it while M triggers reserve. Because why not? That is a nice nice way of ensuring we are basically already having the correct memory. I think that should be better, hopefully. I'm not sure why I did 3 though, but I don't know. Okay. We have that. Then I delete that, bring that back. Okay, that looks way better. Good. Isn't the terrain brush scale a combination? Oops. Isn't the terrain brush scale maybe not? Okay. Oh, wait, maybe we are not rendering those yet. We might not render the modifier stuff yet, right? This can go away. Okay, I mean that kinda works-ish. Let's see, where do we reference that? I mean, I guess I could encapsulate that, right? Yeah, it's a little bit more complicated than that because I think because I think I have a well, if the binding is selected, binding index. Well, if it's listening on input, we don't do it, right? Actually, we should probably as well. If M is listening on input, return, because we shouldn't handle this if we are listening for any input. And then that would be a delete input binding. And we give it the binding index. Sure, take care. Have good rest. Tomorrow I will be back, but later in the afternoon probably, because we have like some sport activities now always in the early like after lunch basically. So I will not be able to do the 2:30, but I will still be there. I'm probably around between let me think, between 4 and 5 my time. Probably like 2 hours later. Is it 2 hours? Yeah, 2 hours later than usual. Should be doable. So quite late your time, I guess, again, but yeah. It is what it is. Have a good, take care, and take a good amount of rest. Oh, that worked actually. Oh, that actually works, holy moly. Okay. That actually works a little bit better than I expected. Okay. I will get something to drink, be right back. And then we will add a couple more actions. Eventually I have to work on this as well, but not yet. So yeah, be right back. Alright. Actually, I wanted to try one thing. Let me quickly... Can I? Okay, maybe not. Unfortunate. Alright, but whatever. I can do that later. Oh wait, thanks. I wanted to do that again. Where is that text here? I want to move it here. Delete that one. Give me a second. I mean, I guess we can do it here. Something like that for the future. Alright, cool. Anyways, let's continue, I guess. So we have delete and add and the add and delete for input bindings and input actions. And then we have the rename, of course. That one is quite easy. Oh yeah, that one. Oh, that's the modifier stuff. Okay, we will implement that. Let's see. Rename. Command history. Push. Rename. Input. Action. What was it called? Rename input action command, yeah. We give it the name. And we give it the this, and we give it the context ID. That's about it. Get rid of that. Oh, we need as well the action ID, of course. Could work. That one is probably fairly simple, similar to that one, just so we have a name here. We give it a new string name. Or could I not store? Could I not store the name as a string ID 64 as well? I'm thinking I could actually. Maybe that makes sense, I'm not sure. Let's see. First we implement it. I think it works. Okay, then action, set name to name. The thing is, isn't that then just setting the... Yeah, exactly. So why do I not just do a string ID 64 right away? Call it set ID. Be done with it. I mean, we can do that, right? We can call it new name. All right. Good. Yeah, that works. Now we have modify input action, which is one thing, and then we have modify input binding. That one is probably modify input binding. Let me think. That one actually probably doesn't make too much sense. The modify input action does make sense. I think this one we probably have to delete again. Don't think that makes a whole lot of sense. We need other actions for that, but not this one, definitely. And that one doesn't make a whole lot of... Because the thing is that you cannot modify an input binding. We have other means that we need to do. But actually we could probably do that, like basically this would be add input trigger. This input trigger? Input trigger, yeah. And then delete input trigger. And then add input modifier. And of course we have the delete input modifier command. And then don't really have a modifier here, but basically I mean maybe modify. No, bind input binding slot command. I think makes sense. Delete input binding, that one. This one we already have. I think it's those 4 that I have, 5 that I added. CPP. Why do I keep pressing escape? That's stupid. Okay. Let's add those to the mix. Okay, maybe not. So we have add input modifier, and now we have input trigger. Then we have bind input binding slot command. And then we have those two here just with delete. Okay. So we definitely have those two here. Now we have the other three. Okay, let's build. Let's see. Well, where did it fail? Probably somewhere stupid. What? Oh wait, rename. Wait, why? Oh, because we don't have an include here. And then that, and that would be a string ID 64. Right, right. Beautiful. So I think what we can do now is we can go here. Go here. Say rename S. And we can undo that and redo that. Perfect. Cool. So that works. Rename works. And we are getting there. Pretty nice. Let's do the binding. So M is listening on input. Yeah, this one here, right? Commands history, push, bind input binding slot command. What do we need for that? We need the M selected binding index, the M selected binding slot, the M selected action, the M selected action, of course. But actually we might be able to... Can we not bind them all on the same thing? They are all very similar, right? I mean, kinda the same. Yeah. Let's do set selected. Where do we even use that? It's only in those, right? Yeah. So we can change that to avoid. To a new key, so basically a new input ID. Think. So bind input binding slot. Yeah. So basically command history pushback bind input binding slot command. We give it again the M selected binding index, the M selected binding slot index, as well as the selected action ID, and that's about it. Well, and the input ID, of course. And then we give it this, and we give it the M selected, well, M open input context asset ID. That's the thing. We don't need that. Don't need that. The question is, do I even need... I mean, maybe. The question is, do I even need that? Can I not with the M selected action index? Wherever I set that? where string, or actually I'm wondering if that doesn't make a lot more sense. Because then what I can do is here reset that as well. Now we don't even need that, right? And I can just do M selected action ID. That should do it already. Then here what we do is set or bind in that case. Do I even need that? I don't think I do. All I need is just hear that, right? Event button. The Y input ID. I mean, do I need that? No, right? Can't I just cast it to an... Ah, but I don't really know to what, right? No, can I not do... where is it? Mouse.h to index. Yeah, exactly. Can't I do a to index with the event button? Should be fine. Yeah, I mean, all of that works quite nice. It should be fairly straightforward. Now the thing is, delete input binding command. We probably have somewhat similar to that. Find input binding slot. And we have an action ID binding index, binding slot index, and an input ID input. Okay. This one is string ID invalid, that one is simple, that one is invalid index. That one is as well. Input ID invalid. I think that exists. Is it not? Okay. Oh no, it does exist. Or, okay, let's not do that. Let's do it like that. That should be fine, right? Yeah. Question is, do I want to add a couple of bind, or do I want to have some helpers here? Input ID, input ID, and then binding. Okay. Okay. Then this one would be that. Then we get the action. Then we get the bindings. Yeah. Then bindings at binding index. Oops. Binding. And binding index, of course. Set input binding for binding slot index to m input ID. Needs to, of course, as per Onyx assert binding slot index is less than binding slot size. Okay. Maybe. The thing is... Yeah, no, that's fine, I think. Include Onyx editor command input actions bind. And then the question is, does that even work, right? Oh, yeah. It's the action ID, then that, yeah. Then the button, yeah. In that order, which kind of makes sense. Question is, could we make that nicer, but whatever. Render actions map. I think that is gone. Render actions map. Left panel, right panel. Two columns. Let's see, where else? we have problems here because yeah, we definitely render input actions. Where is that? Oh. I mean, let's not try that. String action ID. Is it that this is not an input ID? Probably, right? What's the problem? Oh, fair. Okay, cool. Does that work now? Do we have binding that can be redone? No, because we have a crash. Perfect. Wait. Oh, okay. 0, 1. Question is, could I not do a column thing here? Oh well. Alright. So this one, listen. That was wrong, of course, but okay. We have the bind input here and we can undo it. But I just realized that... Listen. That my input thing is wrong here. Why would that be the case? Is it that this is wrong or... Keyboard event? I mean, that does convert it to the index, right? And isn't... Isn't that how it does it? Hmm. Fascinating. Or is... no, that's not an index, right? That's the key. And we get that to the index. Maybe I'm rendering it wrong? Where do I render my input action? Input binding here. Or maybe not here. Get bound input spot. Okay. And oh wait, 2 index is wrong. This is just enums to integral, right? I think it's just because we store the flat index, not the... yeah, not the index to the type. Or like internally to the type, because that would... yeah, that would basically kill all information. Data? No, Onyx data that. And yeah, let's do that, and we do where? I mean, yeah, we can do that. Listen, and we set that to yes, to you. Perfect. Okay, yeah, now it works. And we have the bind input here. Perfect. So that kind of works already. Nice. Why does this in the parentheses not work though? Render binding. Yeah. Shouldn't that be a valid type here? Okay. Or is it because we have... no, what? Is it maybe because we're outside the range? No, that's not possible. Let's do that, maybe. I don't know. I'm curious, because that doesn't really make a whole lot of sense. That doesn't work. Oops. Why would that not work? Input type mouse. And now we go into the string. Huh? Okay. Input type. I mean, that's bizarre. That should work. Input type, incomplete type. Why is it always that? I don't get it. I mean, that is fairly obvious what it should be, but okay. Two. And two would be keyboard. So why does it not work? Very odd. Because the other parts work as well. I mean, I guess I can as well. Do a 2-string here. And the input type. I mean, that doesn't make a whole lot of sense, right? That it would be this. I mean, I don't know, maybe there is some weird stuff with like the headers and stuff like that not like working out quite well. I don't know. That's like my only suspicion right now. There's like something not quite working with how this tries to resolve the name. Okay, yeah, that was kinda it, which is still weird, but okay. I guess we could do then get input type string. You are using a stack for this? For what? How do we get this? Not really. It's not really a stack. It's more like a directed graph. A dog. Well, a directed acyclic graph to be a little bit more specific, similar to what Git does. So actions are only moving forward, never backwards. To undo, we go back to a safe spot basically and then replay the actions from there. Very similar, as I said, to what Git does. Why is that? Oh, input ID. Or it's like that. God damn it. Does that make sense, what I told you now? Like, or do you have any other questions about that? I'm happy to answer them, but yeah, basically it's only moving forward. I think maybe I still have it here drawn. Yeah, basically it's like that, right? Yeah, so we have like the safe state here, and we only have actions going forward. If we do an undo, let me please stop that again. If we do an undo and then add a new action, we basically branch off. Currently that's not in the UI really visible, but basically it's like a git merge, like a git branch basically. We suddenly have like a different history with a different forward moving thing, and you could in theory go back and like undo again up to like undo to here basically, which would be we go back here and then replay this graph again instead of this graph. Yeah, that's more or less in very simple terms. But that merging, like that branching, I don't have yet implemented because I just didn't need it yet, but it's very easy to add. Very easy to add. Did we now actually do the window here correct? Oh yeah, okay. So I think that works. It's going good. I mean, we have it more or less working for like most of the... I mean, we don't have it for the node editors yet because they are a little bit more complicated with... Well, I just need to implement the going back to the base version, but we have it here for our input actions, for example, which is similar to Unity or Unreal, where you have like an input map file. And we have the command history here. So what I just added is that we can go here and not have a breakpoint. And while the undo is maybe... Alright, let's do the gizmo translate, right? And like, let's rebind that to U. Then it changes here to U. We have here the history. And if I press Ctrl Z, it goes back to T. If we press Ctrl Y, we go back to U. So that is like that example, and then we have as well like the one that is probably like the most implemented is here. So we can create an entity, we can rename that, we can create a new entity, rename that, add a component, for example, and you see like the history here fills. Then we can change the components, that's a modify, and then we can in theory go back all the way, everything is gone again, and we can maybe not. Okay, well maybe I killed something. But yeah, in theory we should be able to redo everything. Not quite sure, or did I mispress maybe? Because I'm not sure if I guard already against... Yeah, I might have pressed too much. But yeah, basically I can undo everything here, and then I can go back here exactly. And basically jump like that as well in the history, similar to Photoshop. That's where I got the inspiration from, more or less. Like an action stack, and you can go back. This feels to the user like an action stack, right? But it's not really, it's more a graph in the backend, but to the user I will always present it as a linear history because it makes it easier to understand. So once I would go here, right, to the add component and then do a new modify, we basically hide this history and add a new one. So if I create an entity, basically you would need to hide this action here, because it doesn't exist in the current context anymore. Because we jumped back here and then I created something new, so this modify doesn't exist in the current state. So we would need to reflect that, but that I don't do yet. But yeah. Pretty straightforward, and the branching again is not really hard to implement because it's basically are we at the latest action when we push a new command? If not, we are branching basically. That's the whole logic behind it. It's where was it? Oh no, not this. Command graph. So basically, when we push here, where is it? When we push here into our branch, well, we have it already, right? If we push here into our branch, before pushing, we need to establish that our current command index is actually at the end of this list. If it's not, then we need a new branch. That's the whole logic behind it. So it's basically already there from a code point of view, just not fully done yet. But yeah, I want to add it first in all the windows, right? And then we add this branching if we need it or not, basically. But first I want to add the input, the redo action, or like the action systems to all actual editor things, and then, because then adding stuff on top of the system is simpler. Thank you. I'm really working, well, I wouldn't say hard because I still have a job at the side, right? But I'm trying to get it into a solid state for people to be able to use it. We're getting there, we're getting there. Okay, so we have the bind now. So it's, I think, the two remaining things in this window that are not implemented yet with the action system, which are not even implemented in the UI because they are quite new concepts, is the input trigger and input modifier. So we have to do that, but probably I will do that tomorrow. I think I'm already quite done for today. Why would someone use Onyx over Unity, Unreal, or Godot? That's hard to show now. Well, actually, maybe I can show. So where, I don't know, to be honest. Where's my profile here? The thing is, what my engine does, do I have it here or not? Jesus, that's a lot of media. Oh yeah, so what I have is volumetric terrain, which is a little like in Unreal you have that with the, there is a plugin for it. I forgot what it was called, but Unreal has a nice plugin for volumetric terrain, the one that digging a hole was done with, if you know that game. Or how to dig a hole, digging a hole game. Yeah, so that one uses a voxel based thing as well. They use, I think, dual contouring for the mesh extraction. And yeah, what I do, and my big selling point is that the terrain is like a first citizen in like a volumetric concept. Like you don't have height map based terrain in my game. You can add it yourself if you want to, but Onyx itself will always come with the volumetric terrain out of the box. Basically, you can then do whatever you want, but yeah, I cannot show it currently because I don't think I have it fully working anymore, but and I'm still working like on the next version, and I think I broke it recently. But yeah, it will be next week or so that I will add it again, like see if it still works and stuff like that. And yeah, it's basically infinite terrain. I mean, here it says 32 by 32 kilometers. Actually, it goes up to 64 by 64 kilometers in range for the terrain, which is basically the far clip plane. And it allows you to stream in more, but you can never see more than that. So yeah, but basically more or less infinite terrain is the main selling point for Onyx. And yeah, terraforming, as you said, and all those nice things that come with voxels basically is the thing. And it's not an afterthought, right? I'm building the engine based around that, so. And that whole terrain stuff is on the GPUs as well. So the whole terrain is generated on the GPU, so it's quite fast. So I would say that's like one of the main selling points. Another one, but that's like a minor thing, and that's actually just important for, like, I would say, developers. That worked great. That's not what I wanted, but okay. Which is as well on the GitHub. I mean, you can. Is it here? Well, is it Onyx or GitHub? Oh yeah, it's good that. So basically, another thing is that I enforce asynchronous loading of assets. That's a minor thing, but it really was as well one of the core pillars that I wanted to have. So basically you can never load an asset and block anything with it, because it will always load. Like, you cannot say give me this asset now. You can only say give me that asset and it will eventually be available for you, and you need to write the code correctly for it. So, yeah. Oh yeah, and then last but not least, I can show that as well, but I'm not sure that I wouldn't say that's the main selling point of the engine, but it's still nice. So what we have is a render graph, and that is basically what normal engines anyways have as well, or newer engines have as well. But my render graph is basically data driven. So that's the render pipeline, right? So basically here, for example, we have the sky rendering, depth prepath, lighting path, static mesh path, and compositing and tone mapping. And if you don't want tone mapping, you just remove it from here and save the render graph, and you don't have a tone mapper anymore. So you can edit the render pipeline within the editor in like a data driven way. Granted, it's not that simple and you still need to understand what you're doing more or less, but it's there. The possibility is there to change that. And then as well we have, well, I don't have an asset now here, but yeah, we have the same for shader graph, so you can build shaders here. So you can, for example, create a color out. Well, okay, that one was the worst example, I think, because that one doesn't actually work. I think it's a material out, sorry. It's, I think, this one, or does it just crash currently? Okay, maybe I broke that, never mind. I guess I broke that editor, well, with the latest change of the history and stuff like that. But yeah, basically we have a material editor, which is the thing how that you are the terrain is rendered. Basically it's the same as the shader graph in Unreal, more or less. Don't think I have a screenshot for that. But yeah, all that. But I think, as I said, the main selling point would be the terrain. Alright, enough yapping for me. I will call it a day. We will add the remaining things for the input command history tomorrow, which is really just those two commands here, the add input trigger and the add input modifier. And then we should have everything again nice and beautiful. And yeah, thank you for joining. I wanted to check one thing. This one I wanted to change. Invalid index 32. Good. I mean, algorithms, it depends a little bit, but there might be some good books, but not on the top of my head right now, but I can definitely find some. Data structures, not really. To be honest, as sad as that sounds, I've learned most of that just over time. I know that's not really helpful. And definitely not something you wanted to hear, but... Oh, that's the wrong command, okay. But yeah. Don't think there is an easy... Like, I mean, yeah. Maybe, does that book have algorithms in there or data structures? The efficient C++ thing? But I mean, would it be C++ or programming in general? I'm not sure if that one has... Or is it effective modern C++? Is it that book? I'm not sure if that has algorithms in there, but it definitely... I would say most likely it... I don't remember, but I would say it has covered some data structure stuff. Where is an index? God damn it. Does it not have an index? Okay, it doesn't have an index. Cool. So I think that one, at least I can somewhat recommend. But it's very specific to C++, of course, I guess, in that sense, but... Yeah, but it's not really algorithms, I would say. And then for Vulkan, I always recommend like those two books, the Vulkan cookbook. This one is quite good if you're interested in Vulkan stuff. It's a good start and gives you a good basis, and then there is just where the mastering, graphics, programming with Vulkan, which is doesn't cover the basics of Vulkan. It still covers the basics of Vulkan, but maybe not like very well, because I think it's just one small chapter, and then it does a little bit more on like extra higher level stuff, like how to do, for example, the render graph. There is a render graph implementation in here. So yeah, they implement, yeah, exactly, a render graph, multi-threading. Well, they call it frame graph, but it's basically render graph, frame graph, same thing. GPU driven rendering and stuff like that. Both of them are quite good, but more graphics related. The thing is that I don't really have too much. Those were the books that I wanted myself because I wanted to learn more graphics related stuff. At my daily work I already do a lot of engine C++ or gameplay C++ coding, so I learned most of that by doing in the field. But yeah, I'm not a graphics programmer, so I had to basically teach that myself. Teach me that myself? Well, whatever. Make it an English sentence. Alright. Those two books I actually read, yeah. Well, the first one I read, the Mastering Graphics Programming with Vulkan, that one I read. The cookbook I did not read yet. I only started reading it a little bit, but then kind of stopped. I'm not sure why I stopped, probably because of time or interest, because I was basically already done with most of the Vulkan stuff at that point. I bought them a little bit in the wrong order. I bought the mastering first and then the cookbook later, and that was probably not the... I usually buy the physical copy just so that I have it, but then I read most of it as the PDF version. Every time you buy the hard copy, right, you get the the PDF version as well. Although it depends. I guess I did a mix. When I was I read the mastering when I was on vacation, and I don't have really a good tablet, so I took the book with me and read the book. But then at home, I most of the time read it on the PC as a PDF. But it really depends, I guess, because it's as well nice just to read a book and not be on the screen all the time. All right. I will be back tomorrow. Yeah, between 4 and 5 p.m. Because I have, yeah, as I said, some stuff in the afternoon, early afternoon. So no stream 2:30. Thank you for the follow. Really appreciate it. So we will be back tomorrow, finish off the input stuff, and probably we have to move on to what I kept pushing away, which is the node editor, and add the actions there as well. And then we're done with the input, with the undo redo system. First version, I would say, because I don't think I will add the branching anytime soon, because it's not really needed. All right. And then we are back to actual gameplay stuff. Well, gameplay stuff, engine stuff. So yeah, we'll finish off hopefully this weekend the undo redo system. And then on the agenda of the engine is physics. So we will add physics to the engine. And that's when we go back to the terrain, because our terrain needs physics. Alright. Have a nice rest of your evening. See you tomorrow, hopefully. If not, have a nice weekend. And yeah. Thank you. Intrepid is hopefully not. Hopefully I don't do an Intrepid, but I'm not a company, so whatever. Can't do that. Yeah, thank you very much, appreciated. Let's hope the plan is with 0607 to actually do somewhat of a release, like publish it a little bit more, maybe with the Reddit post or something like that. Let's see where we end up. Thank you. Have a great night. See you tomorrow. Have a nice weekend. Bye bye.